Troy Galloway is a construction manager and consultant, commercial and residential builder, and a certified inspector for all commercial and residential buildings. And now, here is About the House with Troy Galloway.
Hello, folks. Welcome to About the House. This is your audio university on everything about your home, from construction to maintenance to remodeling to real estate investing. About the House is everything that you're ever going to want to know about your home. We also are very blessed because we have a forever library through the help of The Answer. And if you have any questions or any kind of thoughts after this, you can always go back to our podcast and check them out. We actually have so much information that you're just not going to get it all. And each week we have a special segment, special skill, or something we're trying to help promote, and that way you can go and pick and choose your own subject matter that you're looking for through the podcast system, and you can stream us live. I'm hoping that you are right now. Hey, by the way, this is Troy Galloway, your humble host, owner of Galloway Building Services. Just like this show, we are one of a kind. There isn't another company in the Midwest that provides the unique services we do for people through this middle part of the country, from Kansas City, St. Louis, Chicago, whatnot, and we help people with construction consulting. If you have any questions, if your job's being done right or not, give us a call. We do new construction and remodeling inspections. We do commercial and residential inspections, as well as we do conflict resolution and expert witnessing if you have to go to court, or you have troubles with your contractor, and you got to have somebody on your side. Here we are. We've been in the business for over 42 years now, and our motto is to make sure that you're getting what you paid for. The job is being done right and you're not getting ripped off. So give us a call, 636-394-3112. I also, before we go any further here, I sure like to step over here and thank one of our premier sponsors, J&H Properties, real estate broker agents. They're large enough to handle all your home and buying and selling needs, and yet they're still small enough to be sensitive. Always being there when you call, never being passed off to somebody. Heck, you might not even know who you're talking to. Buying and selling your home is really stressful, and it's really a great feeling to know you got somebody in your corner that's always there to help you, somebody you know personally. So give them a call, J&H Properties Real Estate Broker, Real Estate Agents, and that is 314-602-4835. Somebody will answer your phone and get you in the right path. Today, I am really excited. We have not only is she a good friend of mine, but she's also an absolute leader in the Midwest as far as her industry, Cherie Summa of St. Louis Radon. And she is a radon specialist. Now, this is a new thing for some of us out there, and for some of us, we've been knowing about it for several years. But she's going to come in here. Cherie is going to help us separate the BS from the truth, and so you will be fully knowledgeable, or as fully knowledgeable as we can be in an hour. Hello, Cherie. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about you and your company.
St. Louis Radon is a radon testing and mitigation company. We've been around for 11 years. We do primarily radon testing and mitigation in the greater St. Louis area. So we cover St. Charles County, St. Louis County, Lincoln County, Jefferson County. We have installed more radon systems and done more radon testing than any other company in Missouri. It's about probably over 12,000 mitigation systems now, and probably about double that in radon testing. Of course, we're fully licensed and insured. We're certified. I am a professional engineer by trade.
And I'm glad she said that, because, folks, you don't have to be certified to start doing this testing. But I think that you would really prefer to have somebody like Cherie that is certified, that's taken the test, that has the knowledge, not just somebody with a machine selling you the time, right?
Absolutely.
So help us out. Tell the folks exactly, because I get asked this a lot, and when we promoted your show, this is the number one question. What is radon?
Radon is a colorless, odorless gas. You can't see it, taste it, or smell it, but it can be present at dangerous levels in your home. Radon is a carcinogen. It's naturally occurring. It comes from the breakdown of uranium and rocks and soils underneath your home acts like a vacuum, and it pulls the radon gas inside. And at elevated levels, it can cause cancer, lung cancer.
So explain to them how that's created by a vacuum. Tell them how this is actually, because I understand, but it might not make sense to some folks. How's it bringing it up, sucking it up, you might say?
Yeah, it does suck it up. With the HVAC system running, the fan in your kitchen, the fan in your bathroom, and the pressure differential between the inside and the outside of your house with the temperature change.
Yeah, awesome. So what are some of the risks that are associated with radon? I mean, we hear all kinds of stories, but just tell us really, as a professional point of view, what is the worst and possibly the least?
Well, the worst, of course, is lung cancer. It is a leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers. It's the leading cause in non-smokers of lung cancer, the second leading cause overall. If you have elevated levels of radon in your home and you're a smoker, it can increase your risk of lung cancer by 10 times. There's a few other diseases that they're starting to tie to radon exposure, but nothing definitive. So all the studies have been around lung cancer.
Yeah, well, that's especially people that smoke. I didn't think about that. They've already are, I guess, at a higher risk. Is that what's happening there?
Right, and their lungs are already damaged.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, okay, this is my question. What about those who are vaping? Would that damage their lungs or hurt them where that radon might possibly be an issue with them?
Well, it's interesting. There's really not enough studies around vaping.
I didn't even know what it was until a couple years ago. Yeah.
There are carcinogens in vaping, in the chemicals with vaping.
Oh.
But it's too soon to tell.
Okay, so let's not worry about that, but if you're a cigarette smoker, and I guess as a child, if you grew up with your parents smoking, you probably are at a higher risk too?
Exactly. Yeah. And that kind of brings up a good point too, Troy. So we always want to be testing our homes now for radon, and the lowest levels of radon and the least amount of time you're exposed to elevated levels of radon, the better. The least risk there's going to be. But you may not know if your childhood home had elevated levels of radon. You may not know if the school that you attended, the college you attended, the office that you work in has elevated levels of radon.
I'm seeing a lot more of that in office buildings where they're testing. Are you seeing, I'm getting more requests, are you seeing a lot more of that yourself?
We are getting more requests as well.
Yeah, well, and like you said, these older buildings, heck, they wouldn't even know.
No, there is no way to know. Without testing, there's no way to know if you have elevated levels of radon. We just did a dentist's office a couple weeks ago.
Oh, a dentist's office even. Wow. I'm thinking, when you say office, I'm thinking somebody that works in that same environment all day, every day. But I guess everybody that's coming and associated with it can be have issues, huh?
Right. And, of course, the dental hygienists, they are there all day, every day. We're actually looking at an office building tomorrow, an architect's office, because he's a couple doors down from the dentist. He saw us there and gave us a call. And
actually, testing doesn't cost very much, does it? I mean, tell them what you normally. Of course, I know that's a trick question, folks, because there's a lot more to it. But if it's the most simplistic system that you're using for testing, because I know the larger the houses, office building's going to have more, places you have to test. But it's just a simple, say, 1,000 square foot home.
$125 for a radon test, which is fairly inexpensive for something that can be life-saving.
I'll tell you what, I'd like to find another place you can get a medical research for $125, a life and death. So, absolutely. So, well, we talked a little bit about why testing for radon, and to talk about, we just touched a little bit on how radon enters the home. So, tell them how. Okay, it's being vacuumed in, but from where?
From the ground.
Mm-hmm. From like sump pits and...
where is it entering the home?
Right,
it's entering the home typically through the foundation, and it doesn't matter what type of foundation it is. Whether your home's on a slab, it has a basement, or a crawl space. And it can enter from the sump pit, it can enter from any crack in your home.
Wow. Yeah, and so that is great because folks, we're going to wrap this segment up here pretty shortly here, but I want, on the next segment, me and Cherie are going to talk about, different places, apartment buildings and stuff like that because I know that the science is evolving and we're discovering more radon getting in other places, so you don't want to miss the next segment. Folks, why we're doing this, get your notebook out, make your notes, and write them out, because there are going to be a lot of questions you're going to want to ask Cherie, and all we ask you to do is that when you're done here, just reach out on our webpage at GallowayBuildingServices.com, and also Cherie will give you her contact information that you too can reach out to her and ask the questions. Well, folks, thank you for listening. We will see you on the other side.
Troy Galloway is a construction manager and consultant, commercial and residential builder, and a certified inspector for all commercial and residential buildings. And now, here is About the House with Troy Galloway.
Welcome, folks, to About the House. This is your humble host, Troy Galloway, owner of Galloway Building Services. We are the certified construction consulting and inspection company. You have any issues out on your job and you want to make sure that it's being done right, or you're buying and selling a house, give us a call. That's what we specialize in. Hey, before we move on here and get back with Cherie, I wanted to thank another one of our sponsors, and that is Classic Flooring Solutions. They are hardwood specialists. And Jacob Abraham's the owner. Well, actually, if you go back and check our podcast, we got a great show and tons of information from Jake, and when he come on here and talked with us, and they're a third-generation family of doing the hardwoods. I have known both him and his father, for probably 30-plus, almost 40 years. I highly recommend them. Write down this number, Jacob Abraham, 314-302-7222. Hey, and when you mention the show, just tell him that he promised a discount, so take him up on it. All right. Well, thanks a lot. Here, Cherie, I'm glad you're back, and folks, I'm glad you're with us. This is one of these shows that is kind of scary because radon, and repercussions can be scary. But that's why we have Cherie here. She's going to educate us, and through the education, we're going to actually know the very best. So, Cherie, one of the things we get asked, and I think you said something, alluded to it in the last segment about the architect getting a testing because he'd seen you at the dentist office. So everybody should, what do you recommend? Should people do that just because they see you in the neighborhood? Is that a good idea? Or should they even wait and be the leaders of the neighborhood?
It's always a good idea to test for radon. So if I could say anything today, one message I want to get across is the only way to know if you have elevated levels of radon is to test. You cannot rely on your neighbor's test. Your neighbor could have a high level of radon and you may not. You can't rely on, I'm in a certain area of town and I hear that area has elevated levels of radon. You really have to test to know. But the good news is, radon-induced lung cancer doesn't have to be scary because it's preventable. Mm-hmm. It's preventable. And if you know you have elevated levels of radon, you can install a mitigation system.
This is my question here, and because I get asked this with new families. Are babies and the small children, I know that they're more susceptible to lead poisoning. Would they also, I assume, be more susceptible to radiation or radon?
They are because they have higher respiratory rates.
Oh, that's it. Oh,
and the same with pets. The pets for two reasons. They have higher respiratory rates and they're lower to the ground. And radon is a heavier gas and it's higher the lower you are to the ground.
So your pets too. Yeah, well, a lot of us, our kids are long gone, but we got our fur babies. So we're crazy about our fur babies.
You would be surprised how many phone calls we get. My dog has lung cancer, and I have no idea why. And we test their house, and they have elevated levels, and that's how they find out. That
I have to say, that almost brings tears to my eyes. It's so sad. we just don't even think about it. That's why I'm glad that you came here today, to share this with us. So yeah, I'm hearing more and more about, okay, you said it's a low heavy gas, but I'm hearing more and more that in apartment buildings you need to also get tested. Say if you're living on a second level, would that be a great place to also make sure?
I would definitely test if I was on the second level of an apartment building. In fact, when we do large building radon mitigation and testing projects, it's required for certain, like if there was a HUD property, you're required to test on the second floor. Radon isn't just in a basement. Radon can be on any level of a home. It's typically higher in the basement because your source is the ground underneath your foundation. So if you have a basement, your source is going to be, closest to the basement. But it can also be in your main level or your second level, and your air condition circulates that radon as well.
Right. So, all the way to the third level then, if you're in one of them environments where you're a community HVAC heat plant.
Right, but really any location, any indoor location, any building where you spend your time should be tested. Commercial buildings, office buildings, apartments, condos. We're doing a condo today in Chesterfield.
I was talking to a home investor / flipper, and he was telling me, so, hey, listen, folks out there, all you investors, this is a great selling point. He's beating you too. But he's telling me that what they like to do is get their home tested. That way they could show the certification went to potential home buyers, and so he's got $125 or whatnot in it, but he's got something the others don't.
Absolutely.
What a great tool. So hint.
Yeah, and it's a selling point if there is a mitigation system in it, because sometimes buyers will be scared if there's elevated levels of radon, but it's a positive have a radon mitigation system because your radon levels are likely going to be lower. So the level is 4.0 picocuries per liter. That's where the EPA action level. So that's when it's suggested to get a mitigation system. So let's say you're living in a home or you're thinking about buying a home that's a 3.8. And in a real estate transaction, that doesn't typically trigger a radon mitigation system. Of course, you can always put one in. But you'd be better off to have a mitigation system, have the radon levels reduced, than finding another property to buy that has a 3.5. And there's other benefits to having a radon mitigation system. It reduces the level of humidity in your basement, which can reduce, it will make you more comfortable, of course, in the summer. It can reduce odors. It can reduce your likelihood of having mold. And it pulls all soil gases out from underneath your home, not just radon.
Which only makes sense. But back up, because you said something that I want to make sure people understood, and that is the elevated amounts that is acceptable. Explain to me what them big words mean. To explain to all of us, because you said them so fast that I couldn't even write it down fast enough. So
sure.
What does that mean? Sure.
So radon is measured in picocuries per liter.
What's that?
It is the measurement of radiation. Okay. So 4 picocuries per liter is what the EPA, they call it the EPA action level. And that's when the EPA recommends that you install a radon mitigation system. Really, the EPA has to draw a line in the sand somewhere. 4 picocuries per liter is about the equivalent of smoking 8 cigarettes a day.
Oh, wow.
Right. And there's really no safe level of radon, but you can't, radon outside is about 0.4 picocuries per liter.
Is radon, I assume, as a natural phenomena of the earth?
Yes, it's naturally occurring.
So it's not because because I've heard these crazy stories. Well, I'm on a landfill, I got radon, or I'm not on a landfill, I can't have radon, or this is an old farm. So that really is that any truth to any of that?
No, there's no truth to that. It just comes from the breakdown of uranium in rocks and soils, and it's either you either have that underneath your home, and there's a big enough source strength. And it kind of depends how your home is built as well. It depends if your home if there's a lot of air passageways under your home. If you have a home with clay, solid clay, that's not very porous, your radon levels might be lower. But with that being said, I go back to the only way to know is to test. And we mitigate homes in the city with tight soils every day.
Yeah. Now, well, we don't want to put the fear of where it may be in some areas and some areas not, because like you said, heck, your neighbor could have a high elevated and you're not. But that's also why we should get tested on a regular basis. Yeah,
absolutely.
Right?
About 25% of homes in the greater St. Louis have elevated levels of radon. So it is fairly prevalent in the area.
25%. Now, I did not know it was that high. I knew that we had some issues. I wonder, does this cave system or anything that we have anything to do with it, or do we know?
It can. Absolutely.
Wow. That's well, folks, hey, we're going to wrap up this segment, and we're going to move over here. Catch us on the next segment, because we're going to talk about how the testing process works and some of the different issues with new slabs, homes, et cetera, walkouts. We're going to try to dispel all of the myths. And we appreciate you paying attention, watching our show. I want you to get your notebooks out. I know I say it all the time. Make your notes. Reach out to Cherie and I. Cherie will give you her address, our email address, and ways of contact, the phone number. And always give us a holler on the Galloway Building Services Facebook page and our webpage at GallowayBuildingServices.com. Thank you, folks. We'll see you on the other side.
Troy Galloway is a construction manager and consultant, commercial and residential builder, and a certified inspector for all commercial and residential buildings. And now, here is About the House with Troy Galloway.
Welcome back, folks, to About the House. This is your humble host, Troy Galloway, owner of Galloway Building Services. We are the certified construction consulting company in the Midwest. We do home inspections for buying and selling property, and that's kind of why we have our special guest here today, Cherie Summa of St. Louis Radon. And so, Cherie, we promised and we'd jump right back in here and talk a little bit about the buying and selling. Should everybody test their homes for radon when they're buying or selling, or both?
Both. Typically, a radon test inspection comes up during the normal home inspection, the 10-day period that we have. And it's a simple process. It's a 48-hour test. So we set the test one day. You leave it undisturbed. You can still be in the home. You just want to make sure that it's under a closed house condition. So we want to make sure that all the doors and windows are closed. You can come and go as you normally would. But we're trying to replicate how you live in the house the 12 months out of the year. That's what we're trying to do.
So they don't have to evacuate the home during the testing period?
No, they don't.
Yeah, no, they don't. And that's a good point, because you said you want to try to make it like what they live in the home.
Right.
You know, so...
and most of the time, your windows in St. Louis are closed, except maybe that 1 week out of the year in the spring. But even then, the pollen's too high. So your home is mostly closed up. But you're always wanting to test during the process of buying or selling in the house. But everyone should be testing for radon, not just during a real estate transaction.
So now we get back our test results, and it says that we should have a mitigation system to relieve us of this issue or remove it or whatever. Tell us, what does that amount to? Is this a huge monster job?
It's not a huge monster job. It actually takes about 3 hours on average to install a radon mitigation system.
Well, now, wait a minute. I want to jump in there. It's 3 hours for your company because you're sending out experts, and you also are sending that do it every day, not a do-it-yourselfer people, because I've seen these other people out there don't have but we're not going to talk about the person with the web page with the wrong system on it, you know? Right. So, 3 hours through your company, and then what do they got to do? Do they got to get permits? I mean, what do they have to do? What do you do for them?
The homeowner doesn't have to do anything. We try to make it as easy on the homeowner or the real estate agent as we can. So we come in, we're fully equipped and ready to go when we get to your home. As a matter of fact, we have super access and all that fancy stuff for real estate transactions, so you don't necessarily even have to be home. But how the system works is we core drill about a 3-inch hole in the basement of the home and the foundation. We excavate some material from under the slab to create airflow so we can pull that gas out from underneath your home. And we put that 3-inch PVC pipe. It's typically a 3-inch. Some homes require larger systems, but we seal that pipe. That pipe goes from the basement to the outside of the home, where we install an inline fan. That inline fan creates a vacuum, and that's what pulls the gas. We vent that pipe to above the roof line, and it's a system that's always running because uranium's always decaying, and radon is always being produced.
Now, you're saying above the roof line because I know a lot of us have seen them where they just pop it right out of the house and they don't even get past the soffit or the overhang. So to explain why you think that, and I know I agree with you 1,000%, but explain to the folks how come you want to get it above the roof line.
Well, for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's code.
It is code.
It is code. It also, so our certification, we're certified in Missouri and Illinois, actually, and it's code per that certification. It's also code per the building code. So, but the reason that you do it is you don't want the radon to re-enter the home, either from a vent or from a window, and there is moisture coming out of that pipe as well. So if you don't vent it above the roof line, you could be getting mold and rotting the wood on a soffit or anything. Like, of course, I'm looking at radon systems all the time, and I walk on the weekends, and I walk by these houses, and you can just see the mold.
Yeah. Well, and so actually, so you're not just beating one battle, but you're beating more than one, by doing it right. And folks, that's what's dangerous out here is maybe I said this earlier is that a lot of, you don't have to be licensed in Missouri. You do in Illinois, but not in Missouri. So anybody with a pickup truck can come in and do this for you, and how can you take the chance? I mean, honestly, that's my feeling of it. You want it done right, and we're talking our fur babies. We're talking
right. We're talking our kids. We're talking our babies. We're talking our family.
Yeah. That's great. And I'm glad that you let folks know about that because that'll help them separate the wheat from the chaff, or the guys that are with the tail light warranties. Which I like to talk a little bit about warranties on the next segment, if we could, please.
Absolutely.
And we're wrapping this segment up. I did it again. I got all wrapped up. She's just so full of information. I'm just like everybody else here. I'm just gleaning and getting everything I can. So give us a call and check out our Facebook page, Galloway Building Services Facebook page. Cherie's going to give you her St. Louis Radon information, how to get a hold of them. Make our notes, touch base with us, give us a call. Thank you. See you on your side.
Troy Galloway is a construction manager and consultant, commercial and residential builder, and a certified inspector for all commercial and residential buildings. And now, here is About the House with Troy Galloway.
Welcome, folks, to About the House. This is your humble host, Troy Galloway, your certified construction consulting and inspection company. You have buying and selling a home, or if you have a construction project you're wanting to make sure it's being done right, or you're building a new home, give us a call. Hey, we have a great guest here. I know everybody's been enjoying it, and I know you've been taking the notes, and so that you can reach out to us. But we promised that when we came back here, we'd jump over here because warranties. I don't know how you could warranty something like this or what kind of warranties that go along with it, but share us what you have and how they work, if you would. That way people know, is this a lifetime thing or not?
It's not a lifetime thing, but we do offer a 5-year warranty, and we guarantee that your radon levels stay below 4.0 picocuries per liter, and of course we warranty our workmanship and craftsmanship.
So how would they know if it's working correct, okay, but we're going to bounce off this. You know that little candy cane hanging off the side of these? We all see them. They got that little red thing, like a little loop of a tube.
Yeah, the gauge with the dye in it.
Yeah, with the red stuff. First, I got to ask you, does it got to be red?
No, as a matter of fact, ours is blue.
Oh, so the St. Louis Radon's blue. And so is this like, what is this? Is this an antifreeze or something? Or what is this fluid?
No,
so
it's just
evaporate?
a liquid, and it doesn't tell you. I'm glad you brought this up, Troy, because it doesn't tell you what your radon levels are. A lot of people think that it's telling them their radon, and it's not. It's just showing that the fan is working. It's just showing the water column in the pipe and the pressure.
So it's a vacuum test.
Exactly. It just tells you the vacuum in the pipe. And so you want to look at that, though. If you do have a radon mitigation system, you want to check that every once in a while. If the liquid level is even, it means your fan isn't working anymore.
So even if actually, which I've experienced this, and I try to always help people when we go through the inspections, I explain that, what you just said to them. So I've seen, and I know you have too, you've seen this too, where that the fans are working, but they're not drawing properly because it's an old fan. And that's a great way of observing it. So fans don't last forever, but why do they run, and I know we all know the answer, but I get asked, why do they have to run all the time?
Because radon is constantly being produced. Radon is, like we said, it's naturally occurring. And radon has a half-life of 3.8 days. So the radon in your house at the beginning of the month, by the end of the month, that has almost completely dissipated. But now new radon is decaying.
So it does it. So the system, because I know this gets also asked, system isn't really building up to a certain amount of radon, then evacuates. It's a constant evacuation.
Constant.
And so all they got to do is just check your candy cane. You're good to go. Yeah.
And the buildup is an interesting point too. A lot of people think, well, vacant houses have higher levels of radon because they're closed up, but they don't. Because radon is constantly being produced and breaking down. So having a building or a home that's been closed up for a long period of time does not affect your radon levels.
Well, talking about affecting radon levels, is there different times of the year that's higher radiation than others? Because I've heard during the rainy season that you can get higher tests. Is any of this true?
Well, in the winter, your radon levels can be higher. And it's not because there's more radiation in the winter. It's because the pressure differential from the inside and outside of your house is greater. So you can have greater levels of radon in the winter. But back to testing. You want to test. And if you have, winter's long in St. Louis. It's 5 months.
Oh, it's forever.
I think it's 5 months. It feels like longer sometimes. Rain can affect radon levels, but it's short term.
Short term, okay.
And typically when we're talking about rain affecting a radon test, we're talking about pounding rain with heavy, heavy winds.
So that's good. That's real. Now, is there any symptoms? So if we think that is there anything we should be looking for, be reactive?
Unfortunately, there are no symptoms. It's just the diagnosis of lung cancer. So you don't want to be the person that gets diagnosed with lung cancer and then thinks, I should test my home for radon. You want to be proactive. Radon-induced lung cancer is preventable. You don't want to wait till your pet's diagnosed. Just get your home tested.
Well, that's. I agree 100%, and I didn't know that about the rain. I knew that I heard stories, but that's why I brought you in here, because see, that's the thing. We don't really know much about these things, and so ignorance prevails. And when we're lack of knowledge, people make up stories, and the salesmen make up all kinds of stories that are not true just to sell you a system. So I'm sure you run across that all the time, where somebody sold them a poor system and you've had to fix.
Right. Yeah. We repair other people's systems. all the time.
Yeah, well, and that's why you folks got to get her name and number and make sure you contact her. She went on this last segment that we're getting ready to wrap this one up, and we're going to the last one. Cherie's going to give you all her information, and like I said, I want you to contact her, reach out to her, ask her, and I want to mention this again if I on the other side, but you just touch base with her, tell you heard her on the radio show. She'll give you a little something special here to help you, guide you, and make sure that you're getting the very best system for what you're doing. Well, folks, we are going to wrap this segment up, and we're going to finish it up in the next one. I really appreciate you listening. This has been one of the better shows that we've done because it's just so important to our families. Thank you. We see you on the other side. Welcome, folks, to About the House. This is your humble host, Troy Galloway, owner of Galloway Building Services. We are a certified inspection construction consulting company, and we are just having a ball. And you could say I was coming back from break laughing. Cherie has been a great guest, and I have just learned so much from her, and I hope that you folks have too. And I know that you've been writing your questions down. Cherie, how's the best way the folks can reach you? And how would you recommend them to touch base and get this taken care of for their families?
I'd be happy to help them however they want to reach out. Our phone number is 636-200-2875. Our website is super easy to remember, stlradon.com. You can schedule a test online if that's easier for you. If you're thinking about it at night after hours, on the top of our homepage, schedule a radon test. We do testing 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. You can also request a quote for a mitigation system online if that's easier.
And actually that does work really well, folks, is doing it online, unless you got questions. And of course, I heavily promote that you ask questions so that you know exactly what's happening. But they get right back to you. You guys always do, whether you or the other folks in your office, and you even know me, so that's even more impressive that you would, because I use these folks too, and they are so well known out through the community. Oh, I'm preaching for you, but honestly, everybody knows Cherie. Everybody, and they know your company. They know you take good care of them. So you got a web page is a good way to find out more information or anything like that? Our
web page has tons of information, maybe too much, but it's stlradon.com. Again, we also have a Facebook page, and there's a lot of information on that as well. And people can also reach out by the phone. Call me. I'll, talk to you about your individual house and give you as much information as I can if you have more questions after listening to the segment.
Yeah. Now, what's your phone number again?
636-200-2875.
Awesome. Well, that's great. And we're going to have you come back because this is a subject that's growing, and it's more and more important as this phenomena keeps on happening. So join us again. We really enjoyed having you. Hey, we're going to wrap this show up. I really thank you folks for watching or listening to us. And we wrap it up. I want to thank J&H Properties Real Estate Brokerage. Give them a call. They are the type of company that they don't take on more work than they can do. They make sure that they take care of you all the way through. I just hear great things about them all the time. So you give them a call, 314-602-4835. And, of course, reach out to us, Galloway Building Services, if you have any needs of construction questions or whatnot. And we're on the Facebook page and also our web page. We got tons of YouTube videos out there. We're going to be working with Cherie and getting some YouTube videos out there for you. And I'm going to try to talk her into doing us a little blog so we could put it out there and keep everybody in the loop of what's happening in the industry. So, Cherie, thank you very much. Really greatly enjoyed having you. And, folks, next week, you're going to have a great show. It's going to be me. I am going to be the special guest and the host at the same time. And what the show's going to be about next week is how to be your own general contractor. Now, I teach this at the college So it's going to be an abbreviated one, but you're going to hit all the highlights, and it's going to be able to teach you if you even hire a general contractor, what he's supposed to be doing. Well, thank you very much for listening to our show about the house, and I want to thank The Answer for hosting it, having this for us, and I want to give special thanks out to our producer, Joey. This guy takes wonderful good care of us, and, all you got to do is bribe him with a few cookies, and he'll just do chocolate chip cookies, and he'll take good care of you. Cherie didn't bring her any. So
where were the cookies?
She didn't bring none. She's in trouble. Thank you, folks.